Hey everybody, welcome again to another episode of Just for Fun Games. I'm your boy Azzy, that's my friend Roy, and we're gonna be talking about Loki episode 2, which I don't remember the fucking name for the episode. Do
The
you?
variant,
Because
the
honestly,
variant, the variant.
the variant. Okay, because I went right from watching it to immediately here, and right now my head's a fucking fever dream.
I know. Called me up. He was like, "Hey, you at work?" I'm like, "No." He's like, "I'm ready." He's like, "I'm ready to talk about this episode." I'm like, "Oh,
Let's
okay."
do it. It's like
No,
my head right now is totally like that dude from Always Sunny. I can't help it. That's just how my brain functions. There would be no mention of Mephisto.
yeah,
But at the
no,
top, I want to go ahead and say thank you so much. We have 50 subscribers. Hooray! Like fireworks. I mean, small victories, you know? Whether or not they're actually watching our videos, that's at least 50 people, minus maybe 7 of my accounts, that are getting notifications that we're putting out videos. And that's something to be proud of. Because, like, we're doing this for yucks. So hopefully somebody's liking this shit. Anyway, getting to the episode. So, of which expect spoilers.
yeah. So go
Sorry.
ahead, and watch the episode because I'm gonna tell you now. This is probably gonna be Azzy's show today because he's got shit to say. I'm just back there like, yeah. You know,
I got notes.
So I ain't got notes. I just watched the episode and I was like, wow. Cool.
Yeah, you can probably expect that I have at least like 7 tangents lined up. I'm gonna try and reduce it down to like 1.5. But before I even get to that point, Roy, what'd you think of the episode?
I thought it was good. Now, like I said, I was up early today, so I came home and I was kind of drifting off at the slow parts of the show.
Mhm.
But I think it was like maybe like the last, I want to say, 10 minutes of the episode. That's when I was like, oh shit, Loki found a loophole in the TVA and all this shit. And, the big shit at the end with,
Oh yeah.
which you predicted was going to happen. And I was like, son of a bitch.
Okay, we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. I'm gonna say I was right and I was wrong. We're gonna get to that part. All right. So when the show opens up, where we pick up practically where we left off, where Loki is being sort of ingratiated to the TVA, almost like a junior recruit, being taught by Miss Minutes, which is apparently alive and not alive, but could also possibly feel pain because Loki tries to swat at her. About the rules and regulations of the TVA. We learn a little bit more about what constitutes a nexus and why a split timeline going past the red line is dangerous. Because, like, with the beeping clock, as if it was like a bomb, we kind of just assumed there was some kind of exploding element to it, but it was like anything that goes past those red lines, any variant timelines that go past those red lines can't be deleted by the TVA, or at least as far as we know, they can't be deleted in that way by the TVA. And we get Loki asking a lot of questions. He gets like basically trying to weasel out how the TVA functions, which is honestly, he's acting like our surrogate because we were trying to figure that shit out too. I love how he keeps referring to it, the timekeepers, as the 3 lizards.
Yeah, I don't.
I'm not sure where he got
understand
that. I feel it's
that's what
supposed
I'm
to be
trying
like
to figure out.
like the lizard people, like conspiracy theory that was like really big in like the 80s or something. I'm not sure. Um, but he gets taken out on his first field operation. Was I the only one who actually thought that it was going like back into like the 1600s, and then it's like, oh wait, no, it's the 80s. It's the Renfest fair.
Yeah, fucking go ahead, grab yourself a turkey leg while you at it. Like
It just remind me that I've been lazy my entire life so far. I still have not been to a Renfest.
I think I've maybe been to one, but I mean, I'm not dressing up because you know me, I'm not into this fantasy shit. I'm like, if sci-fi, I'm all in. I'm like, yeah, go ahead, cosplay as somebody.
You would be the one to go to the Renfest cosplaying as Commander Shepard. That's what you're saying.
No, I'll probably be doing what the TVA did in the beginning.
I'm Commander Shepard.
No,
I'm Commander Shepard, and this is my favorite turkey leg in the Citadel.
No, I'll probably be like TVA in the beginning of this episode where the one woman's like, some people need this. Yeah. I'm like, damn. More power to you.
Um, but the first clue that we get that something is wrong with this particular variant, something that threw me off. So we see the agents and they dip into this tent. They're looking for the evil variant Loki that was mentioned before, the one that I presumed was going to be Lady Loki. Um, so they get inside. Creepy music starts playing. Creepy announcer starts playing and music, and then one of them gets touched on the temple. A green magical energy passes from the fingertips to the person. Their eyes start glowing green, and then they start taking everybody out. And I'm sitting back going like, okay, Loki has magic. We get that. But the MCU has done a really good job at trying to confine his magic to a certain uh degree. He could do illusions, he can shapeshift, he can manipulate his appearance. Uh but we've never seen him dominate someone's mind like that. We've never seen anybody because it kind of was like uh with the scepter and the mind stone. Tap your mind.
Yeah.
So that was really confusing. Then what got me is like, well, the variant took control of one of the TVA agents. They have little sticks that just disintegrate people. Why didn't she just have her use that? Instead, she like took him out with martial arts and then fell unconscious and got kidnapped.
It was the plan to find out where the timekeepers were.
No, I get that. I get that. But in the moment, those were the questions that were running through my brain.
Mm.
So then fast forward, Loki and Mobius and the contingent of TVA soldiers arrived there, and it appeared. And for a moment, I'm sitting there like, this is kind of like True Detective.
Oh
Matthew
yeah,
McConaughey.
about to say, yeah, but it was cool because I was like,
Like his monologue.
he was already in the suit, and he was like, yo, it was. I felt like this was gonna be like an X-Files episode or something. Like, he's like, this is what I would do. But Loki being Loki, he's just bullshitting. He's like,
yeah. No, like I think like literally seconds before Owen Wilson said it, I was like, he's lying.
so,
It was like, yeah, no, this is probably all bullshit because he wasn't really going into detail. He kept dancing around it, and at a certain point that when you spend, it's kind of like when you riff and like when you tell somebody a lie just to mess with them, thinking that they're going to get it immediately, but they don't. So you keep going for as long as you can, but then you can't keep up the act, so you just start laughing. That's what it felt like. The trick went on for too long for it to not have been a trick.
Yeah.
Mobius
got that shit though. He's like, we're out of here.
Yeah, no, but the thing that got me is that when he said you almost had me, I thought he was being jovial right there. But then immediately after, you really see that this was Loki's opportunity to show that he could be different. And he kind of just proved Mobius wrong, and Mobius took it personally. He was like, "What the fuck are you doing?" You realize I love as they're walking to the elevator, and he gives Loki 2 lines, and he said, "You can believe whatever one you think it is. I'm helping you because I see a small child shivering in the cold, and sometimes you feel bad for that thing. Or I'm going to tell you whatever the hell you want to hear, just so you do what I need you to do, and I don't care if you believe it or not." And it's like, fuck. There's nothing. There's nothing you get to both could be genuine, both could be lies. Neither one. It's like the ship of Theseus thing all over again.
Midpoint, if you're asking why the hell it went from Just for Fun Games podcast to Just for Fun Games TV, I forgot to change the layout. My apologies. If that's a big thing, sorry.
Anyway, so the episode continues from there, and Loki effectively gets shelved, and you can see the panic in him because he overplayed his hand, and now he knows what the TVA can actually do, and he gets sat in front of a desk full of papers and told to just read and then come back to me when you've actually read everything, which I think was actually a task meant to permanently shelf him. I don't think Mobius had it in him to just delete Loki there and then and there. It was more like, well, here's something that you're probably never going to fucking finish, so just sit here until I figure out what the fuck to do with you. And that's when we get another emotional moment because we learn in this episode that Loki saw all the moments that we saw Loki see. It's not that he saw his entire life according to the sacred timeline. He only saw those moments that we actually saw him see.
Mhm.
So he gets to have another emotional reaction because in the papers uh covering Loki in general, he finds one that details the destruction of
Asgard.
Asgard and Ragnarok and the casualties, and you can see that this is something that emotionally affects him. Though, granted, the 9,000 casualties, that wasn't because of Ragnarok, really. That was Hela. She killed them all. Like,
Whoever
she
you are.
killed. He was the only one who lasted longer than a second.
Yeah, but I mean, when she first rolled up, she was just, I'm hella. You know.
Hey, no, hold on. Side tangent. No, Hela wasn't handled very well. Like, she needed more character development. She needed more time for us to really embrace her. But I still think that what's her name? What's the actress's name?
Kate
No, it's even
Blanchett.
Kate Blanchett. Thank you. Did you look it up
No,
before
I
I did?
yeah, I knew it started with a K. I was like, it's
Right glass.
I was like, you know,
Kate Blanchett sold that fucking scene when she was like before the armies of Asgard. She had like she spent her entire time in a cell thinking that everyone was just waiting for her to come back, and then she got immediately rejected. And the emotion on her face was like, "I thought you'd be happy to see me." That still kills me. I'm sorry, that was a side tangent. Getting back to Loki. Getting back to Loki. But then like you mentioned, Loki actually figures out the loophole and figures out a key clue in order to find the variant. And I loved the scene where they got to test it out in Pompeii.
it's like you're all gonna die. He's like, it don't matter.
Future. The moment he mentioned that he knew the future, that everyone just stopped listening to him and probably assumed that he was just a false prophet. Because who knows what Pompeii's society was like prior to the cataclysm. Um, But I love the lingering scene as like the ash is coming at them. It's like, are they gonna get out? He's like, you need to leave now, you know.
Hey, I don't know what the fuck they were doing. Fucking Owen Wilson's like probably like, wow, wow.
He's I do not think we're gonna get that. I know everybody wants him to say that, but I doubt we're ever gonna get that. I love like there was a TikToker who was saying is like the one thing I want, and I would be so mad if it happened is if the final line for his character was wow, but it gets cut off by black screen. Wah. That would be great. Uh, so moving on. So Mobius takes this to Ravana, the judge, and gets approval to like they try to figure out uh, where there would be an apocalyptic event and where that bubble gum that we saw in the first episode would come from and where they correlate. They figured out that it correlates to a giant hurricane disaster that would destroy a rock smart, which is a reference to the Roxxon
So
oil
yeah,
company.
I figured that's what it was. I was like rock smart because this
It's essentially
Roxxon,
it's
you know.
it's the current popular evil corporation in the comics at the moment. That actually was one of the main antagonists for Jane Foster's Thor when she became Thor in the comics. Was the CEO of Roxxon. Though it'd be really cool if they actually brought the CEO in for an MCU movie because he's a fucking Minotaur. Um, like that's the random thing about him is like you think he's just this like douchey CEO, and then when like guys show up to murder him because of the current Silver Samurai who also owns a giant conglomerate tries to murder him, and then he takes off his glasses, his eyes are red, and he turns into a giant fucking minotaur and murders murders the would-be assassons. I'm going on random tangents. I'm sorry. This can be cut. I don't care.
Back to Loki.
Anyway, back to Loki. So they get the approval. They get an entire contingent of TVA soldiers, along with Mobius and Loki and Agent. I think her name's Agent 52. The chick
Some
from
B-52. I don't know. B-52 is the band.
Yeah.
Never mind.
So, B-52. Hunter B-15. You were actually pretty close.
Okay.
Uh, but as they trying to split up, Mobius is trying to take Loki with him because now Loki's actually being like being a team player, and he seems to be being genuine. And honestly, I too also thought that Loki was being genuine. He was getting excited about the concept of actually catching this variant now. And the one line he said earlier when he was trying to convince Mobius that his theory was correct, it's like, think about it. I know you think that I'm probably a liar, but if you know anything about me, you know I want to be right. So it's like in that same it all extends from that. That's why I feel like he was actually genuine when Hunter B-15 was saying, no, he's coming with me. He's not going with you. This is my operation. I do not trust him. And Loki volunteers. He's like, I'll do it. It's fine. I know I have to earn trust, and I'm willing to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I actually thought he was being genuine. What'd you think?
I mean, it's like people can change, and I'm still at the point where I'm like, I don't trust Loki at all. I'm not falling for this shit.
I feel like because Loki's always the character that no matter what happens, he'll say like, well, "This was all a part of my plan. It was a part of my plan that you would do something that I did not expect in my plan." It was like Jim Carrey's Robotnik from the Sonic movie. It's like, that's unexpected. But I was expecting something unexpected, so it's
yeah. I forget what he says, but I know what you're talking about.
So as Hunter B-15 and Loki are walking through Rocksmart, they're trying to locate the evil variant Loki. There's just this random dude that's shopping for plants. It's 50% off azaleas. It's a hurricane sale. And I'm like, Walmart would do that. uh, but then we see suddenly like the twist that the spell that we got teased about early, at the beginning of the episode can be passed from one person to the next without the Loki touching somebody. Whoever they're possessing can then just pass it on to the next person. Whoever they had previously just collapses. So now Hunter B-15 is being possessed and is communicating to Loki, just toying with him like a cat playing with a mouse. As Loki's like, "Aha! Well, I know you'll want to work with me because I'm trying to take over the TVA and overthrow the evil lizards, or the timekeepers." And the entire time she's being very sorry, I'm already teasing the ending. They're being very coy and dancing around the subject, and uh, admonishing Loki as being a servant of the TVA, and assuming that if they were going to do what they're doing, like grabbing a variant of Loki in order to find them, this is hard, that it would have been someone that's superior to them. And obviously, and she claims, obviously, our Loki is not. Um, a fight ensues as the variant continues to swap bodies and surprising Loki, which honestly, I couldn't help but sit back and go like, we've seen Loki go against Cap. He may not technically be an Asgardian, but he has an average Asgardian's level of strength. He should be able to overpower a beer gutted redneck, unless like the enchantment also gives them super strength. But whatever. Magic. Let's get straight to the big reveal. When the variant Loki finally reveals themselves, they remove their hood, and it's a woman. Now, as Roy said earlier, that I was right because I expected that this variant of Loki would be the Lady Loki that has appeared quite often at different points in Marvel Comics. The thing that throws you off, she has blonde hair. And while technically this is the MCU, this could be an like they even showed earlier in the episodes how different variants of Loki could be vastly different in appearance. Like there was one that looked like it was part troll. So it could just be the MCU and they're changing shit. And this Lady Loki has blonde hair. But I call BS because Lady Loki almost looks like a copy of Lady Sif. Always has black hair, whether in short crop form or in like long tresses. And the other thing that caught me off guard, because again, I'm the guy who reads the comics, and one of my favorite Loki comics is a series called Agents of Asgard. If you haven't read it, I highly recommend it. In it, you have Loki working as an agent of Asgard, and the main antagonist is an evil future version of Loki that's effectively trying to possess his body. And the course of it ends up being a very much a story of actualization of Loki's identity and him coming to terms to effectively evolve into, rather than being the god of lies, to becoming the god of stories. And we get this very gruff um, version of Loki with a short-horned crown where one horn is broken, just like the Lady Loki that we saw in the show today. Uh, so that kind of threw me, because then like, if this is Loki, then this is so far away from being anything like the Loki that we have right now. This is a far more actualized, far more powerful version of Loki. Um, but what gets me is the blonde hair and the fact that she can possess people. And there is a blonde haired character with that kind of power who also likes to wear green. Uh, and her name is Amora, the Enchantress. So, new prediction: this is not Lady Loki at all. Because and a clue to this, and sadly, this isn't a clue that I picked up on, but I'm going to regurgitate it. Sorry, Jay Stoops. Um, a clue to this is that Loki himself couldn't understand why this variant was so very different. He said to himself, like, I wouldn't treat me like this. He couldn't understand how this Loki could be so obtuse and not willing to communicate, because Lokis love to talk. Um, and the trick is that it's not a variant of Loki at all. It's wearing the guise of one. It's leading the TVA to think it's one, but it's a more the Enchantress all along. Oh, sorry. Uh, so, and not to mention, where originally I made the assumption that our Loki was going to see how kind of dystopian the TVA is, and even the concept of the sacred timeline, and they touched on that in a conversation between Loki and Mobius about the notion that, well, for the sake of the sacred timeline, free will doesn't exist, and only we here are actually free. And it kind of like stopped Mobius in his tracks. Uh, Loki expressed the desire to actually control the TVA, to overthrow the timekeepers, which would still be maintaining that system. This Lady Loki, or possibly Enchantress, wants to destroy the sacred timeline, which she does in episode fucking 2. um, so something that was pointed out between when this episode came out and when we recorded the first episode, somebody noticed or realized that the judge character, played by, I'm gonna butcher this name, Gugu Mbatha. Gugu Mbatha. I can get the first name, of course. Her character's name is Ravonna Renslayer, who's a sort of obscure character from Marvel Comics who isn't I haven't seen in any modern comics recently, like in all the time that I've been reading them. Granted, I don't read a lot of Fantastic Four, but her one big mainstay is that she's a lover of Kang the Conqueror. And with Mobius commenting to her about how he has never actually met the timekeepers, and even kind of questioning as to what the timekeepers are actually doing, I'm now led to believe that the timekeepers don't exist, that it's a fabrication in order to maintain the the faith or the system, and the actual person controlling the TVA is Kang the Conqueror, using his lover Ravonna Renslayer to be like the direct authority underneath him. It's essentially the Wizard of Oz and the Professor, with Kang the Conqueror being the professor behind the curtain. Don't look at the.
No, nobody sees the Wiz. Not nobody. Not know how.
Yeah. Don't pay attention to the man behind the curtain.
Yeah. Now, when her character was talking to Mobius, and they had the scene where he was drinking whatever drink he was, and he left the rings on the desk, It's like, you always do this, and hands him a coaster. I feel like there's more than one Mobius too. I don't think it's just some other side guy.
Well, all the TVA agents accept the reality that every single member of them was created by the Timekeepers in order to enact the protection of the sacred timeline. So it's entirely possible that there are a multitude of all of them. They could be easily disposable. I mean, they practically are easily disposable. But Kang the Conqueror, it's in the name. He's a despot that wants to rule all time and space. Isn't that what the Timekeepers are? If you think about it, if there was a war, that means someone had to win. And the victor always tends to rewrite history. So it could be possible that we're going to be introduced to a villain that already technically won, and he's controlling time towards the future that he wants, or that he dictates is the right one or the best one. And it's going to be this Lady Loki, possibly Enchantress, that is going to throw those plans askew, and the repercussions are going to be felt in all the other movies. I mean, it could be a thing where they're able to salvage the I would love it. I would be perfectly fine, and I would love it if this whole thing is salvaged, and the TV is like, oh, thank goodness, we fixed it, and the sacred timeline is protected, and then there's just this gigantic red explosion, and Wanda just fucks everything up.
And well, everybody was expecting Wanda to fuck it up, but
yeah.
I see. My thing is with the Kang the Conqueror deal. I think when's Ant-Man and the Quantumanium shit's supposed to come out? 2023, I want to say.
Yeah.
I don't think you would mention him just yet. Maybe give it not kind of.
I don't expect him to. I don't expect him to show up, but I kind of feel but it could entirely be the end of the series will be the end of the Avengers, where at that moment we see a tease of Thanos. Wait, we could see the side face of Kang, but not how he's gonna look in the movie, because they haven't figured out how they want him to look just yet. Just like a chin, the Kang chin.
That ball sack shit.
No, not for Kang. I mean, I think he is purple though. Shit, I think he is purple.
And he got blue balls then.
Anyway, nonetheless, I love this episode. I'm being strung along. This is more of a mystery, and I can't help but fall for every trick that they're probably throwing at us, because the blonde hair could mean nothing. It could Marvel loves fucking with us.
Hey, look, this Loki has blonde hair. Maybe that Thor has black hair. You never know. He's a brunette.
It's technically possible. I mean, technically, from Norse mythology, Thor's a redhead.
Ew.
Yeah, he's a ginger. Technically, and he has a big old beard.
But yeah, I really enjoyed this episode. It had its slow parts where Loki was doing all that investigating, and I was kind of losing attention there.
That's because you were fucking tired.
Hell yeah, I was tired. But when he started,
if it can keep my mother's attention, then you ain't got no goddamn excuse.
Yeah, I mean, when he was talking about the loophole deal, I was like, okay.
I'm there.
I'm back. I'm awake. But yeah, I would give it a decent 8.
I'll give it a 9.
I mean, I would give it a 9 too, because you got the Lady Loki theory, right? Bonus points for you. Is it Lady Loki? We never know. You putting out your damn theories, and
I mean, well, see, what's funny is that there was a lot of the fan base that was when they expect, and I feel like this might have been a tease. A lot of people thought in that same Agent of Asgard comic book storyline, that's all a part of a very long storyline involving Loki, because at a certain point Loki dies to actually save Asgard, and Thor goes through this giant adventure in order to revive him. But when he's revived, he's actually reincarnated as a child that is completely innocent, despite the fact that everyone in Asgard was treating like shit. This child would be behind the scenes in a big event for Marvel called Fear Itself. Highly recommend it. And the only reason why the heroes won in the end is because of the back alley deals that this child Loki actually undertook. And it involved his previous incarnation, the evil Loki, attempting to actually take his body. And him trapping that evil Loki in a raven that he would call Ekol. Kind of like how Alucard is the opposite of Dracula. This doppelganger, this evil doppelganger of Loki was called Ekol, and it kind of represented everything that was old, dusty, and despicable about Loki. So a lot of fans thought that this variant was going to reveal themselves to also be called Ekol, to be effectively a more evil, superior version of Loki. So when they kind of repelled of the name of being called Loki, it's like, call me. It's like Ekol. Dylan. It's like, fuck. It's like I got trolled.
Also, I'm starting to think of not like a fan theory or anything, a theory of why we getting this show on Wednesday. Depending on what say, how many weeks we got? I think we got maybe 3 more weeks. 4.
It's 6 episodes in total. So
I'm trying to think. Cause hold on, let's see. Let me look at my calendar right here.
You think it's gonna end right as Black Widow comes out?
Yeah. And I think there's something gonna be tied in with Black Widow. Cause the whole
the last episode is gonna be right. The last episode is gonna be right after Black Widow premieres.
Because I was thinking, I was like, maybe since the timeline's fucking up, Black Widow comes back or something. You know,
a variant of Black Widow. Sadly, there's a lot of legitimate complaints about Black Widow being underutilized and being not given enough characterization, and essentially just being the femme fatale stereotype. I get that. I still enjoyed her. But I think Marvel was actually trying to avoid cheapened deaths. Because technically Vision's back, but it's not our Vision. He has all the memories of our Vision, but it's not our Vision.
Elaborate.
And elaborate. What do you mean?
I was doing the line from the fucking show.
Oh, damn it! I could have done it. My bad. I ruined that. But I can't think of anything as to why they put it on Wednesday. I actually thought it was just supposed to be a Norse thing because Wednesday is Odin's day.
Fuck knows. Never know.
Yeah, that's actually where we get. I don't know why Wednesday is Odin's day in particular, but that's the etymology of the word Wednesday is from Norse mythology. Same with Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. They're all from Norse mythology. And Monday, technically. It's all from Norse mythology.
Why don't you just say the whole fucking week?
Well, I don't think Saturday and Sunday are Norse mythology. Tuesday's Tyr's Day. Wednesday's Odin's Day. Thursday's Thor's Day. I'm sure you can figure that out. Friday's Frigger's Day. And Monday, I can't remember the fucking god's name, but it starts with an M. Nonetheless.
It's one of them gods.
Nonetheless, I fucking love this episode. I cannot wait for next week. And I still get perverse pleasure out of the notion that my family keeps getting so damn upset that we have to wait till next week. It's like, this is what my life was. Yeah, Saturday mornings, I had to wait for the next episode of Jackie Chan Adventures. You gotta wait for this shit.
Jackie Chan Adventures, god damn.
Hiya.
I mean,
Jackie.
Hey, look, I mean, they could have gone the whole Netflix route and let you binge watch the whole shit, but what's the fun in that? It's the anticipation, man.
Oh, exactly. You know what? It's exactly that, because if they gave us all the episodes and we burned through it and there wouldn't be much theory crafting, it would just be people talking about how much they liked it or how much they hated it. But now they create all this engagement because we're talking about it. We have to talk about it because this is all we have until next week. Talk to me about the show.
I don't know.
I have so many theories.
Oh, hopefully I ain't got to be up early in the morning to fucking watch it.
Yeah, no, I don't do that shit. I want to be well awake so I can scope out whatever I might fucking see.
I know, your West Coast motherfuckers get it at 12 a.m. in the morning, while we get it at 3 a.m. too. I'm like, only time I do that is for Stranger Things. I'll be like, I'm waking up. I'm waking up to binge watch
Can't
this
wait for
shit.
that.
Yeah.
Can't wait for that. We're gonna do this show. We're gonna do this for the next season of Stranger Things. Don't you worry. Nonetheless, obviously I fucking love the show. I'm very sorry that this has been very much the Asdi tangent show.
Hey, look, no harm, no foul, because like I said, the only things I would have probably pointed out, but like, I love the loophole. I love Lady Loki. That's it, dude. In the episode. Yeah.
Nonetheless, what do you think about the show? Go ahead, drop a comment down below, hit the like button, subscribe, hit the share button to make sure everybody sees our faces, because there's not enough faces like ours on TV. And make sure you hit that bell notification so you know the next time that we actually put out some shit. Because I went off script and I lost my place.
You nonetheless, had a script.
I mean, I've kind of been saying the same tangent at the end every time now, sort of. What did you think about the episode? Go ahead, drop the comment. We'll see you next time, probably next Wednesday, if not Friday, Saturday, Sunday, whenever the hell we put out shit.
Whenever I upload shit.
I mean, yeah.
Anyway,
I've been Azzy. That's been Roy. We'll see you next time. Peace.
Deuces.
Okay, y'all. Let's review what we've learned.